My name is Connie. I'm 66. I was an event manager, a very successful one. Won some awards. I worked both here and overseas, including China. But I got myself into some trouble by going into this business relationship with this person. He ended up being a con man, left me in huge debt, over $1 million. So I made the most stupid mistake of stealing money from a client. That led me to depression. I was broken and I was depressed. So I turned to gambling. So although I paid those debts with the money that I stole, I kept stealing money to then feed my addiction to gambling.
And you're happy for us to share this to everyone to share it with social media?
Oh, of course, yeah. I do want to get my story out there, but also I want to be able to help others. Because one of the biggest problem about gambling is that there's such a bad stigma. People don't talk about it. It's a hidden
Yes.
addiction. My friends didn't know I had a gambling problem. My husband didn't know. My son didn't know. My family didn't know. And I lost millions because I stole millions. So that's my story. So I ended up going to jail for 2.5 years. That was probably one of the worst time of my life. So I came out thinking, one, I need to share this story. Secondly, I need to try and remove the stigma from gambling addiction. So what am I doing now? I'm not working because unless I want to do manual work, I can't get a job because of my criminal record, and I'm upfront about it as well. So I've actually gone back to uni, and although I've got over 40 years worth of experience in event management, I'm going for my diploma. So then I can teach it online to prospective and future professionals. So I'm making my own future. I'm also talking through Gamblers Help and their respin program to people with gambling addictions, both the addicted and their families.
Amazing. And so courageous and so brave for you to just talk about your story and for you to share your experiences.
Well, it's taken me a long time because although I went to jail for 2.5 years, I actually locked myself away for another 2.5 years because I couldn't go out because of the shame, the embarrassment. I've always wanted to be an actress and a singer, but unfortunately, coming from an Italian background, very strict parents, my dad was a very physical, violent person. So I was beaten till the age of 23 when I left home. So I
Wow.
wasn't allowed to do what I wanted to do with my life. Well, I wasn't allowed out till 21. That's when I put my foot down and I said, I've done what you wanted me to do till 21. Now I am going to go out. So I became a girl Friday. I worked in an office. So I got all my background when it comes to administration, bookkeeping, etc. Yeah, I'm really good at it. But I also started fundraising for charity since I was about 18. And I've always loved doing events. So once I started turned 21, I started going out, organising events to raise money for charities. And that's where I got my experience from. I started my own business in bookkeeping and financial services, payroll, that sort of stuff. So I had clients from all over the world. And then I opened up an office in Carlton. And whilst there, I started getting involved with the street precinct. I did all the events, the marketing for Lygon Street in Carlton.
What other big names have you worked with in the past?
Sophia Loren, Jane Seymour, Goldie Hawn, Susan Sarandon, and almost Alec Baldwin. But I started getting rid of my clients in the bookkeeping business. I was doing both. But there was one client that'd been with me over 20 years, and that's the client that I took the money from. Then all shit hit the fan, as they say. Basically, I was getting myself deeper and deeper into debt, more depressed. Eventually, I got caught stealing the money. The night that I got served those papers, my son opened the door. There was a knock at the door about 8 o'clock, and they asked for me. So I went out, took the papers, and came rushing back into my room. My husband and my son followed me, and my husband said, "What have you been served with? What was that all about?" And it all came out. And I remember my little boys, he was only, 15 at the time. He said, "Mum, don't do anything stupid because I need my mother." And that broke my heart because until then, a few times I had thought about taking my life, but he stopped me. And that night, that really, really stopped me in my tracks. I thought, I can't do this to him. So I locked myself away for about 12 months before I went into jail. Then I went into jail for 2.5 years. Then I came out on parole for 18 months and I locked myself away again.
Can you tell us about the scam? And how that came about, and who was it, like who scammed you and who scammed others? What was that?
When I first met him, it was at a Melbourne Cup event, and he wanted to do events here like me. So he asked me about going into business together. It was supposed to be an amazing exhibition at the exhibition building in Carlton. He was supposed to get all the companies from Italy. He was supposed to get the sponsors, but the money of the sponsorships were going into his account. At the last minute, he said that the companies from Italy weren't coming. So because he had an importing business, he said, I'll bring mine in. So basically used my idea of La Dolce Italia to promote his importing business. He brought in a ticketing company in. When I had to do an acquittal for the Royal Exhibition Building, I got the numbers from the ticketing company that we had 3,000 people over the 3 days. And that's the money we got for, which didn't even cover not even a small portion of the debts. When I told the Royal Exhibition Building that we got 3,000 people, they said, Connie, there's no way you got 3,000. They said, we know you didn't get what you wanted, but you would have got at least 10 to 12,000. He was in cahoots with his company. The money was there, but he pocketed and probably went and shared it with them.
And then fast forward in jail. What was your first night like, your second night, your first week?
The first night, I had to undress. I had to bend down, whatever. You really felt like you were a hard criminal in there. The cell was filthy. It was disgusting. I did not brush my teeth. I did not go to the toilet all night. I would just cry all night. So I was there for about 5 weeks before I got transferred to the low security one at Tarrangower. That was the worst 12 months of my life. There was 5 women there because they saw me on TV because my story was all over the news. So they knew what I did. Considering what I stole, the sentence I got was very low. I was expecting, according to my barrister, between 6 and 10 years. Minimum 6, but it could go up to 10. So when I got 2.5 years on the bottom and 4 on top, which means you do 2.5 in jail, and if you're good, you do 18 months outside, I was grateful. But these women weren't, because they did a lot less than me, but they got more than me. But the judge took into account my community work. Then they also took into account that I was, almost 60. Oh, yeah, just over 60. And I'd never broken the law. So that sort of went for me. So these women were jealous. And so I got bullied really badly, to the extent that 12 months later, a week before Christmas, but they accused me of being a police informer. So sooner that's done, they lock you up for your own safety. They sent me back to the high security. And then I was locked up for 16 nights in a cell, not coming out at all. The cell was dirty, old, windy, cold. It was horrendous. I wouldn't even lock away an animal like that. Even the animals at the zoo have got more room and freedom. I was in jail during COVID. All the programs stopped. All the counselling stopped. Education stopped. Family visits stopped.
Wow.
No, in Victoria, we were locked up for 20 months.
What type of emotions that come up for you?
Regrets. Shame is the other one. Sadness, sorrow, anger at myself, but also for doing something that went against everything I believed in. I wouldn't even steal a pen from work. That's what my mum said. And yet I stole over $6 million from someone I liked. And we were friends, not just clients. We were friends. We became friends because he was my client for over 20 years. And I think I'm sad for that too, because I have ruined his trust in people.
Having all these emotions that you've been carrying from the past, you want to continue on with life. You want to draw a line in the sand and you want to just grow. But there is this fear that's running in the background, and that's holding you back.
Yeah.
Are you wanting to get rid of this fear?
100%. I'm one of those people that just keeps going and going and going and trying to keep myself busy, not to think about it. And that's what I said to you at the beginning. I need to start saying no to things, because I just accept things just to keep me busy and not think about it.
Why do you need to keep busy?
I get bored very quickly. I get restless very quickly.
What happens if you get bored and restless?
I was running to the pokies before.
And why were you running to the pokies?
It was the place where I could actually let my mask down and be me. Whereas when I was in public eye, I just had that happy, smiley face, dancing, singing. I didn't have a worry in the world. Now I'm doing sort of the same thing, but what I'm doing is I'm keeping myself busy. Look, I haven't gambled for over 6 years. So what drove me to gambling, that issue's no longer there. So I'm trying to do too much.
Your mind just constantly racing that
Yeah.
you're
Yeah. I'm going 100 miles an hour all the time. Yeah, it's always been like that. I've always had an active mind. I know that.
cool. So we're going to be working on fear. I remember you telling me, like fear of heights, your fear of
The snakes, you name it.
snakes, all those types of things.
Look, snakes and spiders have always been my fear, and heights and claustrophobia has always been my 4 fears.
Yes.
But since all this has happened, I even fear walking down the street
How would you need to be convinced that this has worked for you?
by reliving those without having the fear.
As you think about anxiety and these thoughts, you can feel it in your body. You can
Yeah.
do the anxiety now, right? Can't you?
Yeah.
Yep. And if I was to ask you to do it again after this session and you couldn't do it, you'll be convinced.
Yeah. And if I can walk across that little passageway at Swinburne and not be scared of heights, I know you've succeeded.
Cool. Okay. Cool. So I get you to close your eyes. Take some deep breaths. We're going to go back to the first event that you felt fear as a child. When was the first event?
8.
8. It is 8. And I want you to float to 8. I want you to go into the event, Connie, and I want you to notice the fear. When you're feeling that fear, Connie, what are the negative beliefs that you have around you?
I'm not naughty.
Good.
I didn't mean it. It was an accident. And I'm not pretty. I'm a nuisance. I'm useless. I'm lazy.
Who is making you feel this way? Which parent?
My dad.
Your dad. Good. I want him to step out and I want him to watch this scene through your perspective and through your eyes. And as he's watching this scene, he's feeling so much shame. How could I do this to my daughter? And he starts to tear up. And he says, Connie, I'm so sorry. I can see how this has affected you. And he says to you, Connie, I want you to take my hand. I want to show you something. He takes you down his timeline, Connie, and he takes you down to when he was 8. And I want you to see what his experience like with his parents. What are you seeing?
He was abused as well.
I want you to go into that event when he was feeling that fear while he was being abused. And as he was feeling this fear, what are his beliefs?
They seem to be the same as mine.
They are. I want you to notice as when he was 8, how this impacts him as he gets older and older. He believes that he is not good enough, that he is useless, that he is lazy, he's a nuisance, he's not understood, he's not being heard. How does this affect him as he gets older and older?
He retreats into himself. He becomes cold.
He does.
Can't show emotion.
He does. He was always afraid. What's coming up for you?
I got in sorry for him. And I'm sad that we never got the chance to talk about it. He died 3 months before I got caught.
I want you to fast forward time to the moment when your mum gives birth to you. I want you to feel that connection that you have with her and that she has with you. I want you to also notice your dad in the room. I want you to see now how proud he is of you. And in this moment, you're feeling so safe. There is a color. What is this connection? What is this color that you can see now, Connie? What's the color? Yeah, it is purple. It's the color of safety and love. And as you get older and older, you're looking through this lens now of this purple. And I want you to keep floating to that first event of 8. And I want you to see your 8-year-old self. What does she need from you to help her feel safe now?
A hug.
She does. I want you to give her a hug now, Connie. And I want you to give her the reassurance that she needed. I want you to give her that love, that purple love. And you say, you know that everything will be okay. Now, Connie, what are your beliefs contrary to your old beliefs about you?
I'm loved.
You are loved.
I'm hardworking.
You are hardworking.
I'm honest. And I am pretty. And
And
I am
as
strong.
you are strong. Everything maybe in the past was just maybe misinterpreted as an 8-year-old. But really, everyone was just trying to do the best they could with the resources they had. And I want you to see the purpose of this event. The trait that you mostly desire about you is your resilience. How did you receive this gift? This grit, this tenacity has saved you so many times. Life was trying to take you through this course, and it was preparing you. From that very first moment of 8, it was showing you how to deal with tough times. And what you wanted to achieve needed for you to be so grounded and so tough. But you had to learn it from the start. And that your dad had to come and play this villain to teach you. And now you can see that all this time, your dad has been there for you. He's taught you how to be resilient. That life was doing this for you. I want you to notice now, Connie, from that moment on all the way up until today, I want you to notice, is the fear there? Is it gone now?
It's gone.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I feel much calmer.
I want you to go into that event of when you were 8, where you used to feel the old emotion of fear. Is the fear there? Is it gone now?
It's not there.
It's gone?
Yeah.
How does 8-year-old Connie feel now?
Free.
She is free. What's she doing when she's free? What does a free 8-year-old Connie do? Is she playing?
Just dancing.
And I want you to notice, just like 8-year-old Connie was dancing free, exactly like that feeling, Connie. You're watching yourself dance free. You're free to dance, you're free to play, you're free to be you, Connie. I want you to come back all the way once you've let go of all that fear, while preserving those new learnings and preserving that new filter in life. Come back into the room. 3, 2, 1. Open your eyes.
Oh,
Welcome back.
thank you. Oh, that was full on.
It is.
Mm.
How do you feel, Connie?
A lot lighter. I don't feel like there's anger.
And as you experience all those things, you didn't feel that fear.
No, and even when you made me go back when I was 8, I didn't feel that angst. Like the first time, I had all these tight knots
Yeah.
inside me. And when you asked me to go back later, much later, that weren't there.
Yeah, it was gone.
Yeah. And everything you said about my dad, I understood him,
Yes.
why he was, but I don't know if I accepted him.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. And I forgave him, but I didn't forget.
Hmm.
In going through that, yeah, I think I've accepted it and forgiven him.
I mean, I asked you before about thinking about fear from the past. Can you feel that fear anymore?
No, I actually can't. No, I actually can't. I don't feel the fear that was there before. And even going forward, that fear is no longer there that it was.
Did you ever believe or think that you could get to this stage in just a couple of hours?
No, I always thought it was hogwash, to tell the honest truth. I now understand it can work.
Before you said that you had this racy mind. Are you noticing that it's just quiet now?
Very quiet. Does that mean I can concentrate on one thing at a time?
You can. Have you ever had this quietness for such a long time now?
Yeah, no, never.
And Connie, this is only one session. Like, this is so powerful.
Mm.
So remember you saying what you can do that all in one session? Remember that conversation?
Yeah.
This is done all in one session.
You
No worries. Thank you and have a good
also
day.
soon. You too. Ciao.
How are you since our session?
I'm actually quite good. I haven't tested the heights things yet, but I
Okay.
find I'm not as afraid as I was. I find I don't really think about it. I mean, normally I get scared out of my wits if there's mice and stuff. And I saw a little family and I was fine. I wasn't afraid.
And what about your anxiety or scared of leaving the house or that type of thing? Is that the
No,
same or is it different?
no, I'm okay. I actually went and had lunch yesterday in Lygon Street, Carlton, after how long? Since 2018.
Wow.
I actually went there and sat down at one of my favorite cafes, and I saw this woman there that was there before, and I even called out to her. And she goes, "Where have you been?" And I said, "What? You don't know where I've been?" She goes, "No, where have you been?" So I told. She goes, she was shocked. I said, "Don't you watch the news?" She goes, "No, I hate the news." So yeah, and I wasn't afraid if there were people that I knew. I didn't care.
Wow.
Mm,
It seems like you're getting out there. Like, I think that's the common theme.
yeah.
Is that once upon a time you felt like you needed to stay inside your home
Mm,
and you had like you're very different from before, right?
mm,
You're a lot more outgoing, there's no fear,
mm.
there's just you being you
Yep.
and you living your life.
Yep. Up to last year, I had an issue with my mum died last January, as I told you, but then I had an issue with one of my sisters, and that hurt. But you know what? Talking about it and acknowledging what happened and why, I'm okay with it. And that, I think that's one thing I'm going to do is I'm not going to take other people's problems. It's almost
Yeah.
like a new era, and I haven't felt this excited in a long time.
What would you say would people would get out of working with me and out of like through your experience and what you worked with me?
It helped me to clear my brain. It helped me to change my mindset. It helped me to be more positive about life. It got rid of my fear.
Would
I,
you recommend it for anyone that's wanting to excel in their business or in their leadership skills or
I think I'll to anybody actually, even people that don't have high level executive roles. It will make their home life a lot better too. So I can't
cool.
highly recommend you enough to them.
Thank
So,
you.
you
Thank
know,
you.
I want them to come on board, and if they need help, you're the person to help them.
Awesome.